networking event. So today we have an expert panel for all of you, and each of them are going to speak for a while, and then you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. Just as a bit general outline here for everybody, we will keep all attendees muted throughout the webinar so there's no interference with sound. The chat function is enabled for informal Q&A, just to make you all aware that for students you can send private chats to each other, or there will be a chat that goes to everyone, so just please to be careful what you put into the chat box. Eilish, my colleague who works with law in Magee, is here as Ulster Employability and Careers, as well as myself. And we are recording the main session here. Our idea is generally that we have the main session where we have our panel speakers who will speak for between 5 and 10 minutes each when I introduce them, and then that we would move out into more informal breakout areas where you'll all be assigned with panel members to speak more informally, and that will not be recorded. However, if we don't have many more students joining us, we will all stay in the main room where we are at the moment. If we go into a breakout session, we will notify you that's going to happen, and we'll notify you when you're in a breakout session when we will be moving the students around into the next virtual room. If everyone requires any kind of support, can you please give us a private chat? So that's to myself, Kathy Moore, or to Ulster Employability and Careers in the list of participants here. So what I'm going to do is go back to the main. Yeah, so if you see Ulster Employability and Careers it's typing a message to all of you, it goes to everyone and you can see. So what I'm going to do then is move into our expert panel, and we are so lucky here today to have these people who are giving up their time. So first of all, the first person who's going to speak is Nadine Martin. So Nadine was sitting where all you guys are approximately a year ago. Nadine graduated from law in Jordanstown last year, and she's now an associate in insurance assurance at EY. And now Nadine originally trained in veterinary college in Budapest after school. I think she probably wonders sometimes why she didn't stick with animals and went for people, and I'm sure we all feel like that. So Nadine actually left school in 2016. She started her careers research again in 2016 and chose law at Jordanstown. So Nadine was keen to get involved in as many things as possible throughout her degree. So she undertook an Insight programme at EY at first year of Easter. She was offered a summer internship, and that converted into the offer of a graduate position. So Nadine's role in assurance means that she is about a year through 3.5 years of professional exams covering areas such as tax, audit and financial accounting. So Nadine is going to talk us through her own career story and her tips for you as law graduates. Thanks very much, Nadine.
No problem, Kathy. Hi, everyone. Do bear with me. I'm having a little Wi-Fi problem, so I've had to turn my video off for a little bit, but hopefully I'll be able to get it back on soon. So as Kathy's already said, I was in the same position as all of you guys this time last year. I graduated July 2019 from the LLB Honours at Jordanstown. So I'm just going to give you a little sort of background of how I got to sort of where I am now in EY. So I went to Strathern School and I did my A-levels in 2010. And after that, I went off to the Royal Veterinary College where I did veterinary nursing. And from there, I sort of decided that I'd quite like to be a vet. But I didn't have my A-level in chemistry, so I sort of started looking around at other options for me to get into veterinary, and that led to me ending up in Budapest. So I just had to do entrance exams in chemistry sort of in place of the A-level. And I went over there, and I mean, I absolutely loved Budapest. It was an amazing experience, but I just sort of knew myself while I was there that it just wasn't the career for me. It wasn't totally what I thought. So I made the big decision in 2016 in June to come back home and to sort of start from scratch again. And I didn't really think about it at the time, but now that I look back, it was it was all quite last minute. I came back in June and I was looking to start a degree in September. So I sat down with my mum actually and with the Queen's prospectus and the Ulster prospectus and went through every degree in the book quite literally. And quite interestingly, at the time, I did actually disregard accountancy a bit because I had this notion that to do accountancy, you had to be an absolute maths wizard. And I thought, no, that's not me. I won't be able to do that. So I sort of disregarded that one. And as I looked through all of them, I was sort of trying to think less about a specific career and more about what skills I have. And in the end, law just seemed like a really good match for my strengths. So I applied for that and started that then at Jordanstown in September 2016. And as you guys will all know yourselves, you're sort of told from the start with law, you need to be applying for internships and getting experience. So I started doing that from the get go in first year. And as well as legal experience, I started looking at just the professional services and things like that as well, just to sort of get anything I could that would impress the law firms. And that actually led to me doing a 1 week Easter Insight program at EY in first year. And I really enjoyed that. It was mostly work shadowing and networking and that kind of thing. But at the end of it, we were split into groups and we had to do a presentation on an assigned topic. And my group actually won that exercise. So the prize was you got an interview for your summer internship. So from that, I was offered the summer internship, which I did in second year. And it was, I believe it was 6 or 8 weeks. And at the end of that, I then interviewed for my graduate role, which I got. So it was really, really nice to know in third year that I sort of had that role set up and I could just focus totally on the degree. So that sort of brings us to where I am now. I started at EY then in September, and it's been a bit crazy, obviously, now with lockdown and everything happening. But for anyone who's not sort of familiar, EY is one of the big four accountancy firms. So there, you have EY, PwC, KPMG, and then Deloitte. And they are the four largest professional services networks in the world. So we're talking massive, massive companies. EY has offices in 150 countries, and I think it's around 280,000 employees. So it's very large scale. Um, so one of the things that I really enjoy about working at EY is, unlike perhaps if I was at a smaller accountancy firm, rather than just being the only trainee, it's myself and 25 others. So there's a big group of us, and those people really do become like your family because you're going through. It's 3.5 years this training contract, and you're going through those 3.5 years with those other people and doing your exams side by side and going to your classes and then your work as well. So, I mean, it is intense, but there's a really, really good group of people that you're doing it all with. So, my role predominantly in EY would be one of an auditor, basically. So, I work with the rest of the team members to review the company accounts, basically to ensure that they are a fair and accurate reflection of the status of the company's financial statements. So, that's sort of in a nutshell what an auditor would do. So it involves a lot of client interaction and a lot of being out on client site and a good bit of travel if that's what you're interested in. I was quite interested in travel, so I specifically said that, yeah, anything involving travel I'd be happy to do. And a great thing for law students, I mean, EY loves law students. There's a lot of former law students at EY because law really sets you up with that sort of investigatory mind frame, and you really need that when you're working in audit. So law students are great at problem solving, critical thinking, all of these kind of skills that are great for when you're looking at the financial statements and you maybe see something that isn't quite right or a material misstatement. That's when those skills really come in handy. So there's people in my year, former law students, and to be honest, actually from all sorts of sectors. We have people from medicine, languages, geography. So there's a really, really good mix. So I think, yeah, I've said, so I work in audit, which is part of the assurance line at EY, and there's four sort of main areas. We have assurance, tax, TAS, and then advisory. And whilst I'm in assurance currently, the great thing is if you do want to move over to another sector at any point, they're really facilitating of that. So I chose audit and assurance basically because you get a little bit of a flavour for everything, because I do a little bit of advisory work and a little bit of tax work as well. So that's really great. Most of my time is spent on client site rather than the office. If you went into tax, you would probably spend most of the time in the office. So it really sort of depends on whether you prefer an office-based job or more travel. And as I said, EY actually give you great opportunities for travel. Unfortunately, lockdown ruined that a little bit for me, as I was meant to be in Germany during lockdown, but unfortunately that wasn't able to happen. But maybe next year. But so yeah, another great thing is just the social aspect, joining with so many other people. We do so many events and different sort of formals and dinners and all sorts of things like that. So Belfast is a really great place to work. They've done so much with it over the last sort of 10 years, and it's a bit of a hub now of activity. So it's a really, really great place to start your career journey. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else. So
Well, thank you
client.
very much, Nadine. That's brilliant. I
Oh,
really
thanks. I'm
appreciate it.
rambling on forever.
Not at all. What we're going, just to explain for those of the students who were in maybe a little bit later, is that each of the panel members will speak for up to 10 minutes, and then we're going to put people into breakout rooms to have more informal talk and Q&A. So we do have fewer students in the virtual session here than required, than had first booked. So what we will do is we will have 2 breakout sessions. And we will have Nadine and Sarah in one virtual room with myself or Eilish, and we will have our 3 representatives from Fintru in the other room, and then we'll swap those around. So I'm going to introduce the next of our guest speakers here. So we are very lucky to have no fewer than 3 professionals from Fintru with us. So we have Lauren Fellows, who is a HR associate, and she supports employees in the Belfast office from HR business partner. So Lauren graduated from Ulster University with the HR degree in 2017, and then has also most recently taken a postgraduate certificate in employment law in practice in 2019. So Lauren joined Fintru just over a year ago after spending 2 years working for an international law firm, and Lauren's going to be able to talk to you about current opportunities for a few minutes with Fintru, and then I will introduce our next Fintru professional.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you for talking about my background. So we'll not go into that in any more detail. We'll spend some time really going through the opportunities that we have at Fintru for you guys that have just finished up in your degree in law. So you may have heard of Fintru. We're based in Belfast, and we also have an office in the Northwest. We have now over 500 employees, and we're rapidly growing. Honestly, there's never a dull day in the HR team. We now have so 4 offices in total, I think, and yeah. So with over the last few years, we've ran what we call the Financial Services Academy, and I suppose this is where our numbers are keeping increasing into. Now, we have ran them virtually. Obviously, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so we're very lucky that we've been able to have the resources to still bring people on board. I suppose what I want to talk to you about today is we have a Fintru Financial Services Academy open at the minute. I know you guys are all studying law. We take from all degree backgrounds. I know Una will talk to you about the Pacific Law Academy that we're running at the minute shortly after. But it was just to give you the opportunity, if I know some people do degrees and it might not always be the route that they want to go down, that there is that opportunity there to study in the financial services. So we take on our 20 in each academy. The closing date is next Friday, the 10th of July. What the academy looks like and it entails is 4 weeks of training. And everyone has that opportunity to gain a certificate in the investment operation. So that is paid for by Fintru. So it is very much a graduate role. It's a 2-year program. So you come in at Analyst 1 and then you be promoted to Analyst 2 the following year. And after you've completed the 2-year program, then you move into the business as an associate, and then from there you are a lateral hire and can work your way there. So we work with large-scale tier 1 investment banks. And there's all sorts of opportunity to get involved with lots of different clients around the world, and whether that be within the legal sector, what Una will come on to talk about, or within the financial services side of it as well. If anyone is interested in applying, we can talk about it a bit more in the breakout room. I will send you through the link as well to the applications in the chat, so that might be easier. But just to give you a bit of context, if you are interested, our interviews will take place on the 20th of July. Obviously, that will all be virtual, with the view that the academy will start then at the beginning of August. So it's quite timely for you guys coming out as graduates if anyone's interested in that type of role. I'm going to pass over then to Kathy.
Great, thanks very much, Lauren. And don't forget, everybody, you will get opportunities to type questions into the chat box on an ongoing basis, and the opportunity to actually speak with these representatives at the end in our breakout rooms. So next we have Una Rooney from Fintree. Una is a legal vice president at Fintree. She has 10 years of experience in legal financial services, gained both in-house and as a consultant, and as a graduate of Ulster University. She graduated from law with criminology in 2010. At Fintree, therefore, Una is assisting with the first legal academy launching this month, which is very exciting news. I'll pass over to Una.
I am just a little bit too excited about this, Kathy, so it's great to have the opportunity to come on and speak to everybody. And sort of following on from what Lauren says, it's really, really timely with our timetable at the minute. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the Legal Academy and what that entails. But before doing that, I just wanted to take a second to talk about how you make it into financial services, because I know that 10 years ago, literally yesterday, I got a little note from a friend to say we graduated 10 years ago this month. So I didn't know what I was going to do, and I graduated with a legal degree, and I sort of had the traditional route in mind and thought that the natural thing to do would be to go into private practice and become a solicitor. But for me, it wasn't really something that I had a huge passion to do. So I ended up getting the opportunity to go to London and work directly in RBS for almost 2 years. So I gained some really good experience, and it made me realize that there was this whole other part of the legal sector that I just didn't know a lot about. So really, really fortunate to have the opportunity to do that. And the good thing about it is you're put on a global stage, but for me, I'm a home bird, and to be able to come home and take that sort of learning that you've gained in London and put it into practice here in Northern Ireland, to me was such a great fit. So I came back, started working in City, and fast forward a few years later, as Kathy has said, I worked in-house and through consultancy roles, found myself in Fintree. So it's a really, really lovely place to work, I have to say, and it's the perfect mix for people coming from a legal background that maybe don't necessarily have that interest to go into that private route. You're given the opportunity to work on lots of different client projects and lots of different things that you might not necessarily realise are available to you whenever you just leave university. So happy to speak more and answer any questions you have about the legal space. But another thing I wanted to quickly touch on was our first Legal Academy. So like I say, really, really timely. Our Legal Academy is actually launching on Monday. And I'm a little bit jealous that I didn't have this when I was graduating, because it's such a good opportunity to get trained and get involved in this area and really get some bespoke training from some really, really good providers and learn what it means to become a derivatives lawyer, really. So our application's open and it goes live on the 6th of July. So as of Monday, you will be able to find our details, which I know Lauren will share as well. The application process will run to the end of the month, with interviews due to take place in the middle of August, between the 10th and 14th. So it's a 6-week program. It's similar to the Financial Services Academy, and we're going to provide lots of training within soft skills and different areas. We have all of the best providers helping us get people up to speed on what it means to work in the derivative sector, learning about all the various types of master agreements that you may find yourself working on, and also learning about the regulations and Brexit and the implications on things like COVID as well. So happy to speak further, but for now I'll pass it back to Kathy to introduce Paul.
That's great, thanks very much. Sorry, I've got a couple of warnings about my internet, so I keep turning my camera off. So we have Paul Rainey up next from Fintru. So Paul is a senior associate at Fintru, managing a team handling documentation related to Brexit. Paul joined the Fintru Northwest team in January 2019 after working for a number of years for an international law firm in Belfast. Prior to this, Paul worked as a barrister for 4 years, having qualified from the IPLS in 2010. So Paul has got quite a breadth of experience around law that maybe in the breakout sessions and chats earlier, you don't need to just ask him about Fintru. There's the whole area of barrister. So thanks very much, Paul.
Hey everyone, thanks Kathy for the kind words and introduction, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak to everyone here today. Yeah, as you say, I've kind of a different background to Una, who kind of moved into the financial documentation side of things at an earlier stage, but I've kind of got a different experience where I've gone through working for a solicitor firm for a number of years, and also working at the bar, self-employed barrister for a number of years as well. I joined Fintru in January 2019 as a senior associate. For me, one of the biggest draws to Fintru at the time was obviously the number of awards and things that the company had been winning and the reputation it built for itself, but also the fact that it was willing to take a chance and open up an office in the Northwest. I am born and raised in the Northwest and from this area, and like Una, I'd be a bit of a home bird as well. So I'd always been keen to try and find something that was closer to home. Despite that, for years I'd been looking for jobs up in the Northwest, and there never really was that opportunity there for me. So it was great to see a company take the chance to open up their offices in the Northwest and provide those kind of high-level jobs for people in the area. My day-to-day job within Fintru is managing a team working on Brexit documentation for a Tier 1 investment bank. So what we do, just as a bit of a detail, we review the documents that are currently in place for the bank for their London-based entity, and we assess what we need to do to those docs to make sure that they're in a position to continue trading post-Brexit. So that particular Tier 1 investment bank has opened up a Frankfurt entity, which we are now looking to repaper their docs to that entity. So we carry out negotiations on a daily basis with multinational clients in order to negotiate various points that stand out in the master agreements and things. It's a really interesting, challenging project, and everyone on it is given the opportunity to develop their skills in terms of communication, drafting various points, and everyone's given the opportunity to communicate with those multinational clients. So you're kind of pushed in and shown, the various opportunities that you have to expand your knowledge and expand your skill set. So that's just one of the projects that are available. We also have a number of teams that work on different projects in relation to UMR and different things that you might have heard of. And we also have business as usual functions as well that show that we've kind of become embedded with the client, and we carry out the day-to-day function, legal function for the client, and making sure that they have the appropriate financial documentation in place. In terms of Fintru in the Northwest, I don't know if there's anyone from the Northwest campus on the line, but when I started back in January 19, there was only me and one other fella that was on the legal team. And at the minute, we've expanded to a team of 20. Hi. So it just shows that there's massive expansion and really rapid expansion, and we're always continuing that. And interested to see if anyone is keen to join the Northwest, feel free to give me a shout, give me a contact. We have grown the team in the Northwest, and we have various projects that we're working on. So yeah, I think that's, if anyone has any questions, free just to let me know.
That's great. Thanks very much, Paul. To say, students can feel free to put messages, questions into the chat box as they go along, but also that after our last panel speaker, people will be put into breakout areas. So we have 7 students at the minute, a couple have dropped in and out. So we'll have our Fintry associates in one room, and we will have Nadine from EY and Sarah from A&O in the other room, and then we'll swap the students round so that you feel you can be more informal. Also, the sessions in the breakout areas will not be recorded the way this main panel is. So we have, I'll move to our last speaker here. We are very, very lucky to have Sarah McCallion from Allen and Overy. Sarah is a legal professional in Allen and Overy in the Legal Services Centre here in Belfast. She joined this in September 2018, and Sarah has supported both Belfast and London corporate teams with large-scale multi-jurisdictional transactions, including large due diligence related to mergers and acquisitions. Sarah is currently also on secondment to Fuse, which is a legal tech incubator within Allen and Overy. She's been involved with the recruitment process for new legal professionals previously, attended careers fairs, and she's been on Ulster campus before. And Sarah also acts as a mental health ally for the LSC. So from having only joined in September 2018, Sarah, you've been incredibly busy. So I'll just pass over to you now.
I know it feels strange because it was one of those funny things. Whenever I graduated from uni, I hadn't a notion of what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to work because I wanted to have money to buy things. But after that, I didn't have a great plan. I didn't sit the institute exam. But what I did do is I did listen to my employability officers and advisors and attended careers events. So I actually went to the Jordanstown employment event at the end of the summer. Kathy, I believe you would have had a hand in organising, and through that I met A&O, and so I applied for the job, applied for lots of jobs, applied for HSF, Baker McKenzie, all of the sort of legal analyst roles, and was offered a few and wanted A&O because they were a Magic Circle firm. So what that means is they're the top 5 in the UK, and it's internationally recognised. So I then started within A&O and in a legal professional role, and they put you through a month-long to 6-week process. So before you start working on the team floor, you're put through a course by the University of Law so that you're given a bit of background in business and company law, so they don't sort of throw you straight into it, which was a big thing for me, because in one of my interviews I asked them, what's your training? And they said, oh, you learn on the job, and I nearly had a panic attack. So that was a big draw for me, I would say, in terms of opportunities through A&O. So I think, like most people on the call, we're very lucky in the sense that we our applications are open now. So the opportunity would be to start in either September or October, with our intake. There's 24 role opportunities, and 8 have actually currently been filled, so there's still 16 left. So we'll be starting, normally we start together, and it will be with one intake, but instead it'll be 2. So it'll be a September and October start. You go through the University of Law course, and then you're on the floor as an LP. As an LP, you're exposed to a lot of opportunities with corporate litigation and banking, ICM, IP, and actually newly real estate work as well. And the thing about working for A&O is because it's an international company, you're not just working for the Belfast office, you're working for, I would mainly work with London, but London, Singapore, Germany, France, offices throughout the network. And the best thing I think about A&O is, if you are a home bird but want that chance to go away, is that we have an awful lot of secondment opportunities. I believe that we have had 30 in the past year. So that would include, London, Paris, Singapore, and we had someone go to Frankfurt. We've had someone go to New York. There's an awful lot of opportunity in that sense to go for 3 to 6 months, get a little bit of experience, and come and bring that back. And I think the best thing as well is that you have an opportunity to control for how long you go for. You're asked, you're not sent. I know that some companies, it's sort of pack your bags and a tap on the shoulder before, but we're not really like that. Another thing about A&O is that we also now have a training contract within the Belfast office. So there is the London training contract, which you apply for separately, but we now have, if you have been an LP for 2 years, you then apply internally for the Belfast training contract. It's not available externally, so you have to have been an LP to be able to apply. So you're getting that LPC, international training, but from the comfort of Belfast. So I think that is definitely a big draw for many people when it comes to A&O. I would say another opportunity as well is that because of the nature of NO, all of our senior associates and the people that we work for are 10 years qualified in either London or New York. So you're working with the best of the best in the comfort of the Belfast office, or right now at home. So it's definitely a very interesting opportunity and something a bit different. The reason why I personally went for it is because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I wanted to get experience across a large number of areas so that whenever I did decide what I wanted to do, it would be an informed decision. I'll pass back to Kathy.
Oh, Sarah, thank you. That's fantastic. And we're